Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 5 of Joe's super awesome podcast. And this week, we're talking to a man with an incredibly awesome name. His name is also Joe. Joe Everson. And he has to be one of the most talented people on the planet. He can sing, he can paint, and he can actually do both at the same time in front of thousands and thousands of people. Now, he has his own studio inside the Taylor's Mill, which is this amazing mill in Taylor, South Carolina. It has been out of commission for decades until this amazing group of investors and really smart people came together and tried to revitalize it. So they have a cool brewery called 13 Stripes. They have a great coffee shop called Due South Coffee. And I'm saying this off the top of my head because my wife and daughter, we go there all the time. It is a fabulous place. But they also have these amazing art studios, including Joe's Studio, who has lately become an internet sensation. He's traveling the country to football, basketball, and hockey games and paints pictures live while singing the national anthem at the same time. You have to see it to believe it. It's incredible. And we were able to sit down with him during his super busy schedule and talk about how he got started showcasing his many talents. Some of the people he's met along the way include NBA champion Golden State Warriors, the Terminator himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and of course, he has performed with the Greenville Swamp Rabbits, who kind of started this whole idea of doing the singing national anthem. So we talked about the amazing people he's met along the way and what he's planning to do next. We also got a little serious for a second. Kind of hard to believe that I would get serious, but we talked to him about his thoughts on the current controversy regarding the national anthem, and he had a fascinating answer. And don't worry, we don't get too serious, but here he is.
The home of the brave.
So we first met in downtown Greer.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. I remember this.
We're doing live shots about this awesome Halloween event that they do in downtown Greer every single year. Mm-hmm. And then you brought the artistry to the morning.
Yeah, I guess so. That was a lot of fun. I do remember that. Man, I think the most fun part about it was just kind of flying by the seat of the pants a little bit there and creating some different scenes and enjoying ourselves. So
right, because you were playing the piano.
Yeah,
and right. The wonderful Kyle Mensing, of course, was entertaining us as well.
Yes.
He's amazing.
Yep.
So when did you start falling in love with the many aspects you love in regards to the art, really?
Yeah. To be honest with you, it might even seem slightly awkward, but I think as the stereotype goes, when I was very young, I was very introverted. I was very to myself, and maybe you get a weird picture of me in the corner, hunkered over, but playing with Legos or something. But that wasn't totally it. But I had fun. I played with kids, that kind of thing. But I really enjoyed trying things on my own and experimenting, and I think that's where a lot of that kind of started to begin. I had a very creative older brother, Ben, who did a lot with music, and even like what I just showed you a second ago with the multi-track singing and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He used to play with that a little bit, and as a kid, I was doing it, and I don't even think my parents knew I was playing with it, really. They just thought, hey, Joe likes to play a little soccer, and that's it. What's wrong with our kid? I don't know. But I really enjoyed that, and I grew up in choirs, things like that. But I always loved playing like that, whether it was music or art. Drawing, once again, is a very quiet kind of just chill moment. Sit down and pick up a pencil and start drawing, and I think that was the first time people started to recognize something's different with him, and it's really cool. Little sketches and things I'd do, and they'd say, wow, did you do this kind of thing? So I don't know, maybe they weren't even that good, but
I imagine they were pretty good. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say they're probably awesome.
Oh man, well, you're very kind, but
just judging what I know now. And so you loved art your whole life, and you and I have my other childhood friend I grew up with. His name is Tarek, and it's not fair because I'm a person with no skills at all, and then I have none.
Oh, come on, Joe.
And then yourself and my buddy Tarek, they're incredible at music, they're incredible at art, they're incredible at all these different things.
Yeah.
And how do you like having these different mediums that you excel at, and now you're making a career out of, which is awesome?
Yeah, sometimes you even question yourself later on, especially when you've spent all this time doing things that apparently almost go nowhere, and I'm sure there's a lot of folks out there who would think the same thing, and maybe they're even in the midst of it, where they're trying things, doing things, and then it's kind of like everyone looks at them and says, well, why are you doing that? You should probably just go find a real job, Go, do whatever you got to do. Yeah, there you go. I know.
Yep.
And not everybody gets that shot, but you're right. There were so many pieces that got put together later on, and they all came together at very key moments. And I think that's really what has developed this monster, so to speak, of what I like to do. And it's kind of like everything, kind of just put it all together. But I had a lot of people input into my life that taught me that. And one of the key things would be my dad saying that everything's connected. And, the more you learn about, whether it was, Dad, I don't want to do math. Yeah, you got to learn your math, and English, which I'm horrible at still, so I do apologize. But, how those things connect, I have no idea to this day. But he would say that they do, and I think thinking that way and being classically trained, I'm forgetting the actual word for it. But
we're not good at English, though.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, I don't have to remember it. But it's a mindset. It really was. And it was really cool to see how studying different things make you better at other things as well.
Yeah.
And so why not? Give it a try. You want to try watercolor, Joe? Go for it. You want to do this? Yeah, try it, and then put them all together. So
yeah, and I wasn't aware of your life story before you came to Greenville. Moving here really helped your career, you would say, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because you were in Michigan and you were working on art, and then you kind of put it away for a while until a family friend just helped, said, hey, I need a painting.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it was amazing because, once again, as a kid in elementary and a little bit of high school, was in Midland, Michigan, and there's a high regard to the arts in Midland as well, and that's where I had my first art teacher, who was just awesome. And honestly, I still rely on her training. I didn't have full training through college or anything like that, and that was so. It started that way, and then when we moved to actually Wisconsin, we were kind of in the backwoods there, and smaller private school, that kind of thing, and they didn't have an arts program. And I kind of, hey, it's all right. I'm just a kid, you got time. You don't have to, do everything anymore. Just go ahead and do, I enjoyed soccer, basketball, that kind of thing. And some music. My mom taught me still then in some choirs, things like that. But the art thing went away for a while, like you said. Yeah. And it wasn't until later on, I got married, finished college, got married, traveled the road a little bit with my brother Ben, and did some singing then for about 2 years. And then that was actually during that time that I got to spot Greenville. I got to see it. I got to go downtown, experience the art scene down there.
Yeah.
And I remember that already kind of welling up in me again. Like, I really miss the arts in this regard, But I went back to Michigan. I had to find a job somewhere, and I had some connections back there, did some construction for a little bit with a friend, and that's when someone approached me and said, hey, I heard you do art, and can you do – it was a color pencil piece.
Wow.
And if I remember right, it was very large, and I would never do it again.
Color pencil, really large.
Like extremely large.
That was taking a long, long time.
It was, it was a little bit of a nightmare. It was, although it was exciting, and I actually got, I'm getting paid to do something that I love, and all that. I was in this, we had a basement to our apartment, which was really nice actually, and I set up this little spot, and I just went to town and talk about detail and everything. It was nuts and very scary because we found out we were going to move, and I didn't want to ship it back and everything, so I had to finish it before, I think it was New Year's.
Oh, wow.
And I believe the lady who bought it showed up, if I remember correctly, the day we were moving, like we were packing it. Packing up the truck and everything, and she's, and she loved it. She cried and,
awesome,
paid for it so we could make it down there, here to Greenville, and here we are.
That's amazing. And now you're here, and when we first met, I'm thinking like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, I think it was.
Were you doing performance art at that time?
Not performance art. And as a matter of fact, I knew I was getting a shot, but it was one of those things where, like I described, when we were moving down here, the reason for moving down was to get another job in the fuel industry as a truck driver, and while traveling for a quartet based out of Taylor, South Carolina. So for me, it was kind of like, ooh, I'm one step closer, although I really just got even busier, and it was even harder to do art, to be honest, but the motivation was there. And for some reason, we all kept saying to ourselves, I say we all, my family, because all our other families up north, and at the time, and so it was, you know how that is. I mean, even if it's the horrible north with all the snow, you don't want to leave family. It's hard,
right?
And but we thought it was the right thing to do, and that there was a shot in Greenville somehow. You know?
Yeah.
And I like that. I like that part of the story because we really wanted to kind of jumpstart and restart, if you will.
That's what I did.
Did you?
That's the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Where was it? Rhode Island or something?
Rhode Island. You know, I had all my family and friends and stuff. My dad told me, you can't do TV. TV, there's no future in it. And yeah, and so I applied for a bunch of jobs, and I got a phone call in Grand Junction, Colorado. You ever hear of this place? Probably not.
I don't know that I have.
It's about the size of cowpens, maybe.
Okay.
And that was my first TV job, and I left everybody and everything.
Wow.
And it was the greatest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
I lived in my car for a little while. I got my car.
Oh, my goodness.
I got my car repossessed. I had no money, none.
Hey, my
but
brother.
it was the greatest thing I ever did.
My brother lived out there, and he had his car repossessed.
Hey.
No, not really, but I think he parked where it was snowing so much, and then it got towed or whatever, you know. But
yeah, I mean, that's what you got to do. Just got to hit the reset button on life sometimes.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. Like, don't necessarily I think it's really wise to not necessarily fear that, because I think that's what usually keeps people from making a move. And I would say, you know, I could be wrong, but I would say 90% of the time that's a move that can really do something great. So, you know, and that's the beauty of our country and what we can do. So go for it, man.
Go for it, dude. And and then you became this viral sensation. You started singing the national anthem while painting. And where did you get that idea of doing something like that, or mixing them?
If I'm honest, I actually thought it was a little crazy from the people who had talked to me about it. The first person who kind of hinted at something similar was actually my mother. You know, she was like, "Oh, you need to implement singing somehow. You know, you could be a singing painter." You know, I can hear her saying it that first time, and I kind of was like, you know, Mom, that you can't do that. You know. And I was
because no one was doing it,
right, and I was envisioning like, okay, you're at like a dinner or something, and you know, which now I probably could do, but at the time it was like, this is crazy, you know. Anyway, I was actually doing a show. I say doing a show. It was like an art show in, I think it was Oktoberfest.
Okay.
And yep. So back in those days when we were kind of like messing around, not long after that, I think, or around that time. We were actually, I was doing a show at Oktoberfest, and I had Greer.
Cool.
Good location, grabber there. It's like, what are you talking about? Like in Germany?
I wasn't hungry.
He's like, I had this idea. No, I had a friend who his name's Daniel, and shout out to him. He's my my manager.
Yeah, very nice guy.
Awesome guy. You know, a lot of things float through him now, and that's how it works, and I love it. It's perfect. It's beautiful how it works out. But he was coming through the booth there downtown, and I noticed, I could tell he was interested, but I couldn't tell if he was interested like on a level of buying, or it didn't seem the same. And I could tell, and even that far back, he was getting re-inspired because he does and is a professional in selling art, really. He traveled on cruise ships and sold art that way, and is an auctioneer professionally here and in multiple states. And he was very inspired, and so we kind of developed a relationship is the point here. And we started talking, and maybe 2 years later, is when it actually came together. But, you know, as he learned my talents and things, he said, Joe, he came to me, he's like, Joe, I really think we should do an anthem, a national anthem. Now, this is pretty early on. I mean, this is before the latest election and a lot of debated topics and things. And we just were developing, hey, how could we do the national anthem and respect it, do it in a proper way, but, have some patriotism and an inspiration, And that's when he was like, Joe, what if you sang it and you painted it? And I was like, wait a minute, what? And then it was like, oh, yeah, do it upside down. Don't forget about that. And I'm just, wow.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So that was a long portion, but I think it kind of helps direct how that kind of started to happen.
Right.
And then came the practices. And there were a lot of them.
Videoing. What was your practice like doing it? Like, what was your first one? Like, how did that go?
It was so bad. No, it really was.
Oh, man.
It was really bad. I think I actually have it, and
wow.
I don't think I'm ever going to let it out. That would be so bad. But I created a folder, and the folder was actually called Project Benny.
Okay.
And, getting a little serious about it and everything, of course, that the focus there was to I said, look, we'll do it, but I think to keep us on the right page and everything as far as this goes, I'd like to make sure we're honoring, the flag, what it represents. And I have a cousin who actually gave his life in the Vietnam War. And now he was a second cousin, and I didn't know him really well. But I remember it, and I've got uncles and family members who have served, so don't get me wrong on that. I think I've accidentally forgotten to say that aspect as well. But the point was that when they did a ceremony for him at a local church somewhere, I remember them, doing the flag process and remembering him and everything, and that impressed on my heart as a little kid as to what he gave. And it was the first time I realized that. And so I really wanted to honor him a little bit with the performance and give it a name that reminded us, why we're doing what we're doing.
Cool.
So I don't know if that's really the focus and the drive where that came from. And so anyway, Project Benny, I created a folder, and I remember doing one of my first videos, and I think Daniel even saw like my second version of it, and he kind of looked at me and was like, like, whoa, maybe we tackled this a little too early, But yeah, I remember a couple times I think I threw a few paintbrushes, and there were moments where it was just, and I think some of it was actually, it got harder the closer I got to doing it.
Oh, I see.
Because then it was more frustration out of, I know I could do this, and I want to do it well.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of practices. Man,
first of all, it's the hardest song to sing. One of them.
I think so.
I'm not a singer, but I understand.
No, you're right. Yeah. Especially, there have been a few times where, and this could be, a simple solution I've heard, of course, and I've even used before, is to get a pitch pipe or something. But you'd be surprised before a game, the things that are happening literally seconds before the anthem, it's not as easy as it sounds.
Right.
Now, if you don't mind hearing the, and then do your thing, okay, But I didn't really want to do that as much, and you'd be surprised. Just getting in a little bit wrong key, or you're a little sick that day, a cappella, no background.
Yeah.
And you're changing keys, you're doing things you're not sure about.
In front of thousands of strangers.
Yeah.
Who don't know you.
Sure. And that's not really the most of your worries, I don't think. Oops, sorry. Honestly, I don't think, knock the microphone there.
It's broken.
But it's broken. Sorry.
That's right.
But having that moment of reveal, knowing that's at the end of your song, let alone forgetting words or something, and thinking, man, I really hope this looks like what I want it to look like at the end,
Yeah.
Flip, what is that,
Oh my gosh. I mean, I can't imagine doing that. And so you've done it in some incredible places. And where was the first one, like when we did a news story about it, where was your first one that blew up, that really went viral?
Sure. So I got to give a shout out to the Swamp Rabbits. Technically, that was our first venue that we were able to do it, and we're given our shot. And so I want to say thanks, because that was local, that was Greenville, and up until that point, if I'm totally honest, I don't think anyone was out to get me or anything like that, but we hadn't really found a sweet spot in Greenville. And I guess I say that to say, you got to kind of prove yourself when you're going to do something, and a lot of people didn't know who I was and what I was exactly asking about. And, I'm sitting here, no, I got this idea, he's crazy. No, but, so the Swamp Rabbits was hey, let's let the crazy guy on the ice, and try it. So we took that video And we sent it out. I say we, Daniel once again, doing a really good job of making connections. And we got a few people that picked it up who said, hey, we'll do this crazy thing you want to try.
Yeah.
And one of those was Toledo Walleye, obviously in Toledo. And I want to say Toledo, Michigan, which is another whole story. I think it's really funny. Which is that's the whole Ohio State-Michigan rivalry thing. A lot of people don't realize Toledo was actually a part of Michigan at one point. So
really?
Yeah. I guess don't put me on record yet, although I am, obviously.
you're
but
totally on
that's
record
what
right
I've been told.
We'll just go with it.
But anyway, so that being said.
So who won? Was it based on a football game? Who got to bring home Toledo?
Yeah. Exactly.
The winner got Toledo.
There you go.
How about that?
I think the basic idea was as it was being built and everything, there was a battle there. And what's really cool about that is that obviously we joke around about the different rivalries and things in the area, but it's a really cool city. It's a really cool town right there. And they've got the Mud Hens and they got the Toledo Walleye.
Yeah.
And the Toledo Walleye are actually, I guess you could say, they're the ECHL version of and the farm team to the Detroit Red Wings. So
cool.
That's where, the ties to home a little bit are there. And a lot of the Ohioans are really excited because they like to claim that, that's where we got our vibe. And they're right. That's where it went big. And I owe a good portion to what happened that night there. So, so cool. Just the right people at the right time. There were a couple of really key things that happened there that night, and Daniel always sends out a press release and says, hey, these options are available to you. Please, let your locals know about this and anyone else who's available. And we're glad he did, because I think there were a few people who were kind of like, this is about to happen. And a couple of tweets went out that just blew up. And then we got contacted and said, hey, we want to run it on a show tonight on SportsCenter. And one guy sent it to me and said, hey, you're in the top 10. So I don't know if officially it was just like, hey, by the way, along with the top 10 or where it landed, but a friend of mine sent me a little clip.
That's huge.
I just, I was shaking a little bit in the hotel room that night. I couldn't sleep. I was just really, really excited. We had worked so hard. And we're really excited. We had come to a point to where I honestly wasn't sure if I was going to keep doing the art full time. Mm-hmm. I had been doing it, full time a little bit, and then thought, oh man, I don't know. This is a hard world to do. So
right.
Thought, hey, maybe I got to do part time for a while. What's going to happen? And then Everett, who is my operations manager, and I kind of conferred with each other and said, hey, we're driving to Toledo. We'll do this last show. Cool. So to speak, and see what happens.
Yeah. And look what happened.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And so since then, you have done some and been to incredible places. So what are some of the highlights of your last year? They're just insane.
Yeah. There are so many. I can think of way too many at the same time, I think. Mm-hmm. One would be obviously performing for the Arnold Classic and then meeting Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Wow.
And
I know, I see. Yeah, I'm looking at your desktop on your computer there.
There it is.
It's like, good job, Joe. I love the picture. It's so good.
Oh, my brother Ken did a great impression after he saw my little Instagram that I sent out. He was like, Joe, I can't believe it. And he sounds exact. He's like, I like the part when you flip the canvas and you do the flag at the end. I'm not very good at that, but he was awesome at it, and made me laugh so hard. But
well, yeah, is he still you would still not mess with him, right? I mean, was he still?
Yeah, definitely.
I know he's older now, but
still
jacked?
I shook his hand, and you can feel he's like, I could crush you, but
I crushed you 1,000 with his head.
No, he really has. He has maintained a hero status with me. That's how I kind of put it. I just, how can you not like Terminator and Predator and all these things? It's just so fun and awesome, especially being a guy growing up in that era a little bit, and then getting to meet him, the Terminator and everything, and whether you like some of his politics or not, being the governor, he's done with that a little bit, but he's still pushing for some really great things, and that's what we got to work with him on, and I think that was really awesome to see. His passion for seeing kids succeed is very high, and with him being who he is and coming from Austria and to America in how can you not have the American dream kind of play out a little bit and what he accomplished as an outsider, so to speak, and just, hey, I'm going to lift weights, and rule the world in a second, and he kind of went from that to the next. And anyway, it was really neat. I got to go to his house.
Right.
After that.
I bet it's teeny tiny. It's a little teeny tiny house. little shed.
No, not at all.
You just call it a compound? Is that what you would call it?
Yeah, I would say it was a mini compound. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
No, he was very it was interesting. There were some modest aspects to it, honestly. And yet at the same time, beautiful, glorious. I mean, he had I think it was the T3 flag on a wall somewhere, and he has a lot of great artists there. Daniel's gonna slap my hand because I can't remember all the big names that were there. Man, I want to remember. One of them was absolutely stunning, and I remember Daniel going, I can't believe this is here.
What?
He got to come with us. And
that is awesome.
But yeah, I mean, just a beautiful, beautiful location, obviously. And of course, Sylvester Stallone stopped by, got to meet him.
Wait, you stopped by?
Yeah, that's actually how I would put it. It was sad because he missed the performance at the beginning, so it was really hard for me to make a context of exactly what why I'm trying to talk to him now.
Yeah, that's
but
crazy.
he was like, hey, yeah, this is awesome. And
did Jean-Claude Van Damme come? Did he
I
come
wish, yeah.
He's had a big street
Clint
fight?
Eastwood typically comes, and he wasn't there that I know of. And let's see, Tom Arnold was there, and what's the guy's name? I'm gonna have to look it up later. Dang it! The guy who he won Celebrity Apprentice, I think it was. And we'll come up with it in a second. Sure. I'll look it up on my phone or something. But
okay, and then I'll just edit it in.
Yeah, just throw it in really close.
So sure. Right. Put a name here. Okay,
right here.
That's cool, man.
But amazing experience. That's one of them, which I probably monopolized the time on that one. But that one's definitely worth it. And we're currently working with the charity. So the charity, by the way, is After School All Stars. Great. Just wanted to kind of throw that in there because that's really what the focus was on. We helped raise a lot of money for that, and I think it's doing really good things. And it was wonderful to be able to work hand in hand with him and the charity. And we're looking for more opportunities and already been in discussions with. And I can't really name everything that would happen, but I'm really giddy about it. So, and if a lot of them go through like we're hoping and everything goes, it'll be really awesome.
Wow.
It's the best I could kind of put there. But, LA Galaxy, Milwaukee Bucks. So we got, let's see, some NHL teams. We went down to the Florida Panthers. Been reached out to by Tampa Bay Lightning, and LA Clippers reached out to us, and
oh my gosh,
the Spurs, and man, and those sound really glorious, and they are. They're really cool venues. I will never say that that's not cool, but there's some other ones that might not sound real awesome at first, but they were some of the most fun. Like General Mills was really cool. It's like, okay, cereal, all right,
my
awesome.
favorite cereals.
Well, there you go.
I totally understand.
Exactly. So we got to do kind of a corporate event for them, and I got to pay Lucky from Lucky Charms. It's just, I mean, that's so cool. It's in my style. It's like, here, we want you to do a Lucky. So that's somewhere they've collected a Lucky Charms by Joe Everson. So really, really neat. Just how many places like that. We're going to a rodeo here soon, this next week, I believe. And a lot of ECHL. I got to give it to my hockey fans, man. The hockey people out there, they are awesome.
Yeah,
and I'm loving it, man. So
hockey fans, they are the most passionate fans I think in all of sports. I mean,
I think that might be true. I mean,
football has its fans, of course. There are some diehards, but if my brother's the same way. If you're an NHL fan, you're all in. You're literally all in, and you love it.
I would even say some of these ECHL guys are.
Have you been on the Road Warriors message board? I'm in the Facebook group for the Road Warriors.
Oh my goodness,
those fans are intense.
Yes, they are.
They're intense.
I've been to a few games, and it's a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh. And so, of course, I got to ask this, and you can answer this if you want to or not. But the national anthem, which you're so proud about doing, which is such an incredible thing to honor it. What do you think about what's happening now in sports and athletes? And
Yeah, I think it's really key here that once again the angle of how it got started for us is something that I really want to focus in on, and I think it helps explain what it is I'm doing, and that's what we really want to promote the most. So, in other words, this actually birthed, if you will, prior to a lot of what has happened. So, some folks might think, he wants to shoot this way, he wants to shoot that way with what he's done. And I really want to let the art speak for itself mostly. And that's kind of the goal with what we're doing. I did it originally to honor our military servicemen and our country. And I think that's the best focus at that point in time. And that's one of the rights I get to utilize here as an American. And, I don't want to create any disrespect for those who have other issues. I don't think America is perfect all the way through, but that's not really the point that I'm trying to make at all. So
yeah, I love that, man.
Yeah.
So I mean, you started doing this. It was your mom's idea. You have the coolest mom.
Yes.
So what else is in the plans? I mean, you've done so many awesome things. But I remember when I talked to you last time, you said, we have other things.
Oh, we do.
Thinking about, and that must be exciting.
Oh, yeah.
I would call it a life. I would just say, no, I'm going to go retire now. But you're going to – that's what I would do.
I can't do it. I can't stop. And that's the thing. I mean, it's in our blood. And I hey, if we're riding the wave, so to speak, of places we're able to go and all those kinds of things. And our 10-year plan has become our 1-year plan,
right?
And all that. So we just go to the next stage. What's the next plan? And like you said, I can't give it away what it is, but I can say that we are literally probably by this evening, I am sealing up our next concept for the next anthem piece.
Well,
so painting and singing, and I can let you know that, and it'll probably be performed very soon.
Really?
So I did a little session, if you will, with Swamp Rabbits. So there's an opportunity to come see it locally, and that will be put out officially as far as the date and everything soon. Cool. So by them. So check out their info and everything. I'll kind of let them say it, and of course we'll post it on my Facebook, that kind of thing. But anyway, so I'm really excited about that. But that's not the only thing either. Okay. That's probably one of the biggest things, obviously. Having that one go viral and everything has been awesome. And, of course, we're hoping for another round of that. And a lot of these folks are these places, these venues are asking us back, even for what we already did. But we're also saying, hey, by the way, would you like to see or preview the next one? So really excited. So that's one thing. Another thing are some other performances that maybe aren't necessarily even on the patriotic scope. I enjoy singing some classic love songs, things like that, and just some other fun things that'll get put together. I will. Oh boy, I think I'm allowed to talk about this one. But we were reached out by a certain news affiliate syndicate about doing a song and painting. I'll say that much.
Really?
With the Golden State Warriors.
What?
So, of course, they won their championship this recent year, and that was one of the highlights. Man, I can't believe I didn't say that because I'm a big-time fan. I'm really sorry to all those of you in Ohio. Not really, but anyway, no, the LeBron fans out there and everything.
Yeah,
I don't want to cause a revolt at this moment, but
that's right.
I really enjoyed performing for them. Second game, Western Conference Finals against the Spurs. But they asked us back, and we're developing a really cool relationship with them. And, of course, I got to meet Steph Curry and Draymond Green. And with my connections back to Michigan once again, and Draymond Green playing for Michigan State. Yep. So really cool to meet him. Got a big piece signed that I have here in the studio and everything. So that's amongst another performance piece that would be really hard. Probably one of the hardest ones I would have to do. So we'll see if that happens. But
cool, man. Well, Joe,
a couple things.
This is so crazy. Joe, you did your first podcast, man. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks to Joe Everson for sitting down with us, and be sure to subscribe. Check us out on foxcarolina.com. We will be posting new episodes of Joe's super awesome podcast as soon as we get them. Or subscribe on iTunes if you have an iPhone, or Google Play if you have all the other phones other than an iPhone. You'll get an alert when we post a new episode, and next week we're trying to line up to talk to a man who is in charge of ghost tours in Greenville and find out indeed if the upstate is haunted. We'll find out. Happy Halloween. Thanks for listening. Toodles.